is the difference between a socialist and a Democrat? That is the question that was presented to Hillary Clinton on Hardball with Chris Matthews. And I would say in advance that she gave an incredibly unsatisfying answer to a question that's not all that difficult. But let's have you decide.
I want to try to help you, for this audience tonight, our audience, locate yourself politically in this country. Now, we have Trump out there, and we have Bernie out here. Now, Bernie calls himself a socialist. Nobody uses a derogatory term anymore. He loves to have that label. He's never ran as a Democrat. He runs against Democrats up there in Vermont. You're a Democrat. I'd say you're a pretty typical Democrat in the tradition of the Democratic Party. And Humphrey, the rest of them, Scoop, not even Scoop, I'd say Mondale, you're somewhere in there. What's the difference between a socialist and a Democrat?
Well,
is that a question you want to answer, or would you rather not?
Well, you know, you'd have to ask.
Well, see, I'm asking you. You're a Democrat. He's a socialist. Would you like somebody to call you a socialist? I wouldn't like somebody calling me a socialist.
But I'm not one.
Okay, well, what's the difference between a socialist and a Democrat? Last question.
I can tell you what I am. I am a progressive Democrat. I'm a progressive Democrat.
How's that different than a socialist?
Who likes to get things done and who believes that we are better off in this country when we're trying to solve problems together, getting people to work together. There will always be strong feelings, and I respect that from, you know, the far right, the far left, libertarians, but whoever it might be. We need to get people working together.
No, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, there's always going to be beliefs from the far right, the far left. Screw y'all. That was an amazing response there.
She is not a progressive Democrat.
She is a progressive on a number of issues.
She's a progressive on some issues, but I would
rights.
not make the argument. Look, let me get one thing out of the way, okay?
Do it.
Reproductive rights are important. Gay rights are important. All of these little social issues are extremely important. I care about them. We talk about it on the show on a regular basis. It matters to me. However, okay, those are tiny, tiny issues compared to the crony capitalism that Hillary Clinton is a proponent of, okay? So she's not a progressive Democrat. You can't just say, oh, I'm a progressive when it comes to reproductive rights. I'm a progressive when it comes to gun laws. I'm a progressive when it comes to gay marriage. I wasn't before, but I am now.
Yeah.
Now that it's convenient for me to be progressive. But you're not really truly a progressive when you refuse to regulate the same banks and the same corporations that got us into an economic meltdown back in 2008.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not a progressive. Okay, Bernie Sanders, progressive.
Yeah.
You, not so much. So that annoyed me. Another thing that annoys me is Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews needs to understand what it means to frame a question, and he also needs to understand that framing questions in a way to get a result that you're in favor of is not journalistic integrity, okay? Or it goes against journalistic integrity. I don't care what you think, Chris Matthews. You're doing an interview with Hillary Clinton because the public cares what she has to say. So instead of sharing what you think about Hillary Clinton's political identity before you ask her about her political identity, just ask her about her political identity. I don't care what you think about her political identity. You can opine about that later.
Yeah,
okay?
and he probably will.
And he will, and that's fine. At least I know what to expect in that situation. In this case, you're conducting an interview. No one cares about you. It's all about her. Ask the questions and be quiet.
And if you're going to go to all the trouble of bringing in Hillary Clinton and then going into a firehouse so that you can patronize everybody in a way that I've never seen before. I've never seen an interview literally in front of a fire truck. Yeah, we get it. She's a person of the people. But that's just insane that they chose to do that. And so she, I guess... So we have this today, and we had the Bernie speech yesterday. And so both candidates have had an opportunity to differentiate themselves from each other. And so yesterday, Bernie Sanders says, I'm not just going to say cut it out to the bankers. I'm going to break up the big banks, and I'm going to make a number of necessary systemic changes to the way that the banks work, the way that the Fed works, the way that the boards work that control those organizations, to credit card fees and credit card interest rates. I'm going to do all that stuff, and I'm going to make good on the promise of a far more liberal economic system.
And you know what that is? That's a progressive Democrat.
That's the progressive Democrat.
Yes.
And she chose to differentiate herself by saying, he crazy. And I'm not a socialist. I'm not a socialist at all. That's a terrible answer to the question, man. It's a terrible answer.
So do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Look, the beginning of my commentary is going to be misrepresented, so I want to be absolutely clear about something. All of these social issues, again, are extremely important.
Yeah.
But the one thing that impacts everyone is the crony capitalism that we've fallen victim to in this country.
Yeah.
And the only candidate right now, the only candidate who wants to combat that is Bernie Sanders. And if you ask me, that is what progressive politics is all about.
Or should certainly be about now.
Should be about. It's not about picking and choosing some social issues and telling the public that, hey, I'm progressive on these issues, therefore I represent the progressive electorate.
Yeah.
You don't. A real progressive would look out for the people who are working full-time jobs and still don't make enough money to put food on the table for their families.
Yeah.
That's what a true progressive does.
Yeah.